a clip from last night's Inside the NBA because this conversation started actually from there when Shaq, Kenny, and Charles all were discussing um, um, Steph Curry and whether or not he's a should we consider in the GOAT conversation. I'll play a clip really quick.
I'm wondering, not saying, I'm just wondering because he's been consistently the best shooter his whole career. I'm wondering, is it time to start putting him as the best player of all time?
Best player? Over, you put him over you?
In the conversation.
I'm asking you.
Yes.
You put him over you. You yourself put Steph Curry over you.
Yeah, this is why he's my favorite player. Cause
I'm not saying favorite. He might be my favorite too, but I'm just asking you think he's better than you.
I played 20 years, watched 20 years before that. I've never seen a guy like him. And he's doing it consistently, and he has championships.
You put him over Michael?
No, I'm not putting him anywhere. I'm saying,
okay,
for all the chitter chatter, is it time to just put him in the conversation?
I think it's about what Shaq said, and people are going to say, oh, wait, GOAT. No, wait, stop. He didn't say make him the GOAT. He said, should he be someone, when we're having a conversation about GOATs, should Steph at the very least be considered in the conversation? And that's the difference between making a statement about like, oh, Jordan, or LeBron, or Kareem, you know what I mean? Should Steph be at least considered in the conversation? Now, this goes about according to how you deem your lists. Because I have Steph in my top 10 all time. He crossed that bridge when he won the finals 2 years ago against Boston. Okay, so he's currently number 10 on my list and probably trending up right now. I believe you also have him in your top 10, right?
Yes, I do.
At number 10 as well, or a little higher than that?
A little higher.
We have him at last?
I have him at like 7, if I recall, off of my list.
Okay.
All right.
So,
and when he wins another ring, I've already said he has to be top 5. I've already said that if he wins another ring, he is the greatest point guard. He goes ahead of Magic if he wins another ring.
He may.
He has to win another ring. He may. I thought last year he may. This year I've seen how bad this team is, and I knew halfway through last year how bad that team was. He's not on a championship team right now.
No.
And he's not nowhere near close to it unless they trade him.
And as you said earlier too, they're not what? Okay. As you said earlier too, also, they're not even a play-in team right now in your eyes.
No.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say about Steph when it comes to that situation. Consideration. Well, how many guys are you considering GOAT? Like, to me, I consider Kareem, I consider LeBron, Jordan. I don't ever consider Kobe because I define Kobe in the number. I have number 8. So.
Yeah, Kobe can't make a top 5 argument even.
Right. Steph can moving forward. I think to your point, what you said, one more ring will help that conversation. This is what Steph is going from though, and this is where I actually think I may agree with Shaq on this. If you made a Mount Rushmore argument, Mount Rushmore doesn't necessarily mean best players.
Well, hold on.
Right, go ahead.
Does Mount Rushmore even mean top 5?
No,
the GOAT?
Not at all. Mount Rushmore means impact.
Yeah, so that's different. He wasn't asking about Mount Rushmore,
right?
Or impact. He literally was asked if he even thought that Curry was top 5, and he couldn't even say yes to that.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't even be allowed to make that argument or start a conversation of whether or not Curry should be in the GOAT conversation if you don't believe he's already top 5. You can't be in GOAT conversation until you're top 5.
Right, because to me, the GOAT conversation really ends at 3.
Yeah.
Maybe 4. I mean, Magic might get some consideration too also.
Well, I put Magic ahead of Kareem, so.
Well, there you go. So my GOAT, to me, I only consider 4 guys in that conversation of greatest of all time. Yeah. So, yeah. However,
Mount Rushmore is different in who I would put up there.
But I will say this much with Steph Curry, though. This is what helps his case, though. Even though I'm going to say no to him, he does check more boxes than a lot of guys in that top 10. impact, Steph Curry is arguably one of the most impactful players in the history of the league.
Yeah,
His shooting.
He's probably one of the three most impactful.
Right. He is the greatest shooter in the history of basketball. That's not even an argument anymore. We're not even having, that's not even something we debate anymore. We just Curry. Oh, greatest shooter. Oh, Steph Curry. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have Shaq as most dominant.
Right.
The unstoppable.
And that's what. And for the record, it's funny Shaq saying this. And I'll tell you what, it took a lot of self-awareness to say that for Shaq to say this, because that's who he surpassed my list to get in number 10 was Shaq.
Oh, and see, I believe I have Shaq. I have Shaq in 10 too. So he wouldn't be. Curry wasn't surpassing me in the 10.
Right, because you have number 7, you have him higher than I do. But my point is, I think.
Well, I have Wilt at a top 10. I don't think
Right.
Wilt is a top 10 player.
And again, we discussed this a couple weeks on the podcast. Like, there's guys that can start flirting with that top 10 spot with another ring, like Giannis and Jokic. So this list could potentially be shaken up a lot in the last couple of years. So I'm going to say no on the GOAT conversation. But if we're having a top 10 conversation, well, you and I have been there for we've been sitting on this for a year and a half now on Steph Curry.
Yes.
That's simple. So no to the GOAT, but top 10, absolutely, without question. So anyway, Zach, good job.